Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Mulholland, and I'm here today to talk to you about some of the scaling challenges we have faced at Betfair. In particular, I'll be talking about application deployment and configuration and capacity management, and also about monitoring. So, Betfair was founded in the year 2000 by Andrew Black, and in doing so, he created the sports exchange concept, which has revolutionised the industry. This has enabled customers to place bets against each other rather than against a traditional bookmaker. This enables them, on average, to get better odds, and it's pretty cool. Betfair is a web company, and we are driven by technology, and we continue to pioneer and invent within our segment. For example, last year we were the first gaming company to introduce applications on both the iPhone and iPad. So talking a little bit about Betfair's scale, for a 10-year-old, we're still growing fast. You can see there that our growth has been pretty much linear, apart from a small gap in the middle. And this flat period was due to work being done to reduce the number of page requests we were doing, because it was becoming unsustainable at the time. The number I'm allowed to quote here is over 7 billion page impressions per week, but this number is from quite a long time ago, and as you can see, we're still growing fast. The majority of our page requests are market prices, prices on a football match or a horse race or something else. These are quite easy to serve because we have many levels of caching within our applications, and typically, for market prices, a price will get updated when the bet gets placed, and then will be published out to a measure bus before being multicasted to each of the application tiers, which then serve them up from their levels of caches. Market prices typically have response times of sub 3 milliseconds on server side. However, it's not just market prices price requests which are growing. Bet placement's growing too, and this is a much harder thing to do, as it's a write operation. We still have a very tight SLA around this, 99.9% of them to be placed in under a second, and we continually match or exceed this. And we're still doing hundreds of millions of these each month. Again, the number I'm allowed to quote here is over 5 million per day. This too is an old statistic. So that's a little bit about Betfair and its scale, and it's quite impressive, I think. So a little bit about me. I first joined Betfair in 2006 as a Unix back-end engineer. In that role, I was looking after the big Spark Oracle databases which backed our website, and also the storage that was underneath them. However, I was tempted away by the mystique and opportunity to join a startup in early 2007 and joined Juiced, a company that was backed by the Skype founders, pioneering in IPTV. Whilst at Juiced, I became a manager, but not before building up a lot of Java knowledge and experience of performance and scaling with finite resources. However, like many startups, Juiced didn't work out for a variety of reasons. It was a lot of fun though. So in 2009, I was enticed back to Betfair, and Betfair was continuing to grow. It was offering some impressive challenges of scale, and I returned to manage the performance team. I later took on the role of managing the automation team too, and did this until very recently. In fact, 3 weeks ago, I took on my new role, which is managing the application delivery and support team for the product and channel side of the business. This includes the website, games, mobile, etc. Think of my team as kind of DevOps, I guess, for half the business. So Betfair is a little bit different from most large web companies. For example, because we are real-time and critical, and time critical. By this I mean, if you're buying a book online, or watching a video, or searching for something, an extra second here or there doesn't make much difference. But for us, and more importantly for our customers, half a second can mean the difference between winning and losing. For example, after a goal being scored in a football match. Additionally, for a web company, we're very tightly regulated. We have to comply with our gaming licenses and the laws of the jurisdictions in which we operate, which presents some significant operational challenges. So we started out with one product, the sports exchange, which revolutionised the industry. This was initially on ASP, but we migrated to Java in 2005. We learned our lesson quite quickly. So the reason for moving to Java was to help us scale, but also because there were significantly more experienced Java developers around than there were on ASP. Over time, we added new products, starting with poker, and then games, and now mobile as well. And what we used to do was fork our code base as we created new applications, because this seemed like a good place to start, as the applications had loads of good stuff inside them. But this has become harder as the development teams have grown, and where we now have front-end and back-end teams working on the same code base, which creates some challenges. As such, we recognised we're about to outgrow our legacy code. So in 2009, around the time we started, although I had nothing to do with it, we started a platform re-architecture. This is breaking down all our shared components, all our shared code into components, and adopting a service-oriented architecture. We have many bits of this already live and in use and serving up data for customers. However, the legacy code base still lives on in many places. As such, we now have hundreds of applications live across many tiers, which presents some significant challenges from the support and delivery point of view, which is what I now care about. So this kind of creates a number of challenges, and I'll talk about 3 of them today. That is, application configuration and deployment, how to manage your applications and their configuration between different environments. Capacity management, how to ensure that you can cope with spikes in traffic and when unexpected things happen. But also how to ensure you don't spend too much time and resource and money on over-provisioning. And the third area I'd like to talk about is monitoring and troubleshooting. This is how to detect problems and attempt to preempt them, because downtime is not acceptable for our customers. So the first area I'd like to talk about here is application configuration and management. We went from a few applications, a handful, to hundreds, with some written by partners. Some of these would have bespoke scripts for deployment, and others would require manual work. We were using different tools between development environments and production environments, which was creating delays and problems. And this was a bit rubbish. I mean, we could start, when we had 10 applications, we could get away with it. It still sucked, but it was manageable. It's not so easy when we have hundreds. So in this area, there's many tools that have been developed to help with this. And some have got funky names, like Puppet, Chef, Nolio, Yebu, etc. And as it was, we chose Chef. So Chef is, it works quite well. It's not perfect. And one of the most frustrating things with it is when you're searching for help, you end up on pages written by Jamie Oliver and Delia Smith. Sorry. And when we started out, we did a proof of concept and then did a pilot. And got some really good results with these. But then we went out and told everyone, go write chef recipes, go do it, it's easy. And didn't provide them with the support and planning behind this. We didn't really have a plan or strategy. We just wanted to automate everything and do it quickly. This created a lot of extra complication because we weren't doing things consistently across our applications. And so we went back to the drawing board a while ago to try to remedy this. And by changing our processes and approach around it, we're now getting some good results. It's worth remembering that no matter what tool you pick, any tool can be made, even the best tool in the world can be made to fail if you don't give it the correct support. Additionally, chopping and changing between tools, for example, switching between Chef and Puppet, is something which we considered. It might give you some. It's likely to cause more problems than it will solve, particularly in the short term. As most of these tools will do what you want most of the time pretty well. So yeah, we're getting some good results now, and we're quite happy with it. The other thing which we've changed within the company is adopting a DevOps model. It used to be we had very separate Dev, QA, and IS or Ops teams, and with some big barriers between them. It was a case of something we developed, it then be QA'd, and then we then go to production. And the teams managing these environments were quite different. And there wasn't much communication between the ops and development guys. So we've adopted we are adopting a DevOps mentality. This is integrated with the ops and delivery teams. So we have QA, devs, and operational people working together within the team, sitting beside each other. So we no longer use tickets to pass problems between them. This is breaking down the silos. And what this is enabling us is to do more deployments in a month than we used to be able to do in a year. This is a huge benefit for us. The next area I'd like to talk about is that of capacity management. This is a difficult thing because obviously customers don't really understand it if your site goes down, even if it is on the busiest day of the year. So for this, performance testing is key, but it's also something that's quite hard to get right. We have capacity sign-offs for each service. We do stress testing, and we have SLAs for each of them. However, sometimes customers can use applications and services in ways in which we didn't envisage, and this can cause problems too. So we need to improve our monitoring around this in order to help us model model the usage of our applications and test things appropriately. The other thing with Betfair, being a sports-driven company, our load is, well, it's predictable in one sense, in that it's driven around key sporting events. For example, the World Cup last year, Cheltenham Festival last month, and the Grand National last weekend. So we know when the load will happen, but we don't know when. So we don't know how big it will be. And so to throw some numbers at you, our peak load is over 17 times that of off-peak. And traffic on a Saturday will be 50% up of that on a Monday. And even comparing just 2 Saturdays, like the Grand National last weekend was 15% up on the previous weekend. So you absolutely need to plan around this and make sure you take action accordingly. Again, good monitoring is key to this, and this will become a recurring theme throughout my presentation. Because without knowing how your applications are performing, you don't know what to do about them.